Good evening. Myself and Rick are here to hang out with you guys for another hour, half hour about whatever, where we talk about this last week and this next week, and even a special guest coming on in a little bit. So again, I'm James, I'm the Prez, and we got Rick here, who's our inside man with all the dirty scoop on MLR and rugby in general. All the things you never thought you wanted to know, he will give you all the cliffhangers that make you want to find out the answers. First, this upcoming week. So Friday is our last home game.
This is it. Last
Friday,
time out Choctaw this year.
Man, we are playing Old Glory DC, kickoff at 7:30. As always, that means we'll be tailgating starting at 5:30, Lot E, southwest corner. Just like normal, we'll have some food, we'll have drinks. We were throwing around a rugby ball at the last game. We'll have some stuff, some games going on. Look for the flag. Our QR code will be out there. It'll get you hooked up with all of our socials. Make sure and scan that if you get a chance to come hang out, or if you're just walking by. We still have scarves up for sale, $15. They are fantastic. They are glamorous. Everybody needs one. If you don't have one, let us know. We take cash. We do also take some other types of payment.
Yes.
And if we need to ship them, we can take care of that too. I have a light bulb that is currently going in and out. So if I get lighter and darker as the time goes on, I am not being abducted, but it will probably happen. So let's see. Also, this weekend is our Kenyan kit drive. So you've seen the promos on social. You've heard me talk about it. This is the one we're going to have a big box set up to collect your gear. If you have old kit, used kit, donations, we're looking for youth sizes, but pretty much anything will work. If you have, we have somebody donating old rugby balls, stands, anything that a youth team that right now is playing in dirt, in jeans and barefoot. Anything we can get them going so they have a little better mobility to play and a little better gear as up and coming youth rugby players in Kenya. So check out that social. We'll post it up again to remind everybody. We'll have that box ready for your donations on Friday. What else? Let's see. This last game. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Very end.
Big win. Of course, we got to make it interesting. For whatever reason, Jackals can't just run away with any of these. So we had a 9-point lead with about 5 minutes left. Chicago came down, scored, and then got the ball back with about a minute left and got a couple of penalties on us. Weren't quite close enough to try for points. And so they kicked to the corner, had a couple of lineouts. They moved the ball around, and then they tried to get in position for a drop goal with Carlsa, former Jackal. And he was not able to get one off. He ended up having to try and run one up and ended up knocking it on in a tackle. Thank God. And we kicked it out. And that was the end of the game. But, man, I mean, really another game where it could have gone anywhere, any way for anybody at the end of it. I think we got fortunate with some of the bounces of the ball and things like that. But you got to get those in these long seasons. I mean, we haven't gotten them in the past, and bounce of the ball, decisions on the field, everything and in between. I think we've probably been on the lower receiving end of that in most cases. So it was nice to get a win, even when we seem to be up against a fairly decent challenge there at the end of the match against Chicago. The Hounds played well. And, of course, we have to mention that just this afternoon, it was announced by the club that they have released their head coach, who used to be the Gilgronis head coach.
That's right. Yeah, he was.
So, they're still trying to make the playoffs. In fact, they're in very good position to make the playoffs and should make the playoffs. So it's kind of surprising timing, but, you do what you got to do when things are going rough, and they've had a 4-game losing streak, and I guess losing the Jackals was the last straw.
It is sad to see someone go at the end of the season, and you're right, they have had a good win, sitting in third position in the
Nope.
You wonder kind of what happened there. But I wish them the best. I wish the team the best, and they've got their backs in the tax coach filling in for them for the rest of this season, and hopefully things turn around. They get somebody good to fill that position for next season, because they would hate to see that go. That spot
there's definitely some good coaches around MLR. I don't see somebody who's going to make a big enough difference this late in the season. I'm sure they will go with whoever is the assistant coaching group is, and they'll lead them through the rest of the season, and then they're discussing with somebody currently, or they'll discuss with somebody after the season ends. Recall that most of the leagues around the world just ended recently. In fact, I believe Super Rugby is in semifinals right now, which means quite a few of those teams have finished their season. So there are probably coaches out of contract around the world at high levels that may or may not want to come over. So that could be part of this. Who knows? But I think, unfortunately for Sam, I think he did a great job with the Gil Grunnies. They had a phenomenal season the last year that they were in existence. And then I think he did a great job this year with Chicago after a really rough year for them last year. So, let's move on to Jackals news. And the Jackals news is we're in very good position, to make the playoffs now. So let's actually look at the standings. I'll put them up somewhere here in the middle. We'll have standings.
They'll be right there.
So Dallas right now, we're in 4th place in the West. Remember that this year it's 2 conferences again. They had thought about going to, I think it was 3, and then they were going to go back to 1 when there was contraction with Toronto and New York. And then when Carolina jumped back in, they decided, no, let's go back to 2. So we're in the West. Chicago's not in the West anymore. They're in the East. So right now we are behind San Diego by, I believe, 8 points. And then Seattle and Houston have basically sewn up 1 and 2, although San Diego could catch Seattle if things roll differently. Houston has basically sewn up the number 1 seed. I mean, they're probably like a point or 2 away from sewing that up. But let's just call it Houston in the number 1 slot. We play Houston the last week of the season. And then if we get that 4th slot, which it looks like we will, we will end up traveling right back down to Houston a couple of weeks later to play them again in a semifinal for the Western Conference. And then 1 and 4 playing each other, 2 and 3 playing each other. The winner of 1 and 4 will play the winner of 2 and 3 in the conference final. And then the winner of that would go on to the MLR championship. So, opportunity, you get in the playoffs. It's kind of like the NFL, right? You just want to get in the playoffs. You never know what's going to happen. It's one match at a time. We don't know what's going to happen. Houston gets an important injury. We, make some plays, get a bounce of the ball. Hey, earlier in the season, we lost by 2 with a last-second line out, right? That we ended up, I think, either knocking on or turning over in the mall. And had we not done that, we win that game. So
I was just thinking that. I mean,
when you
get a spot in the playoffs like this, it's not everything you've done before. It's down to that one match. And all of these teams above us, San Diego, Seattle, and Houston, we beat Seattle before, we've beat the Seawolves before. Like you said, we haven't beat Houston, but man, that was such a clincher game. I mean, it really is still up in.
It's very much up in the air. And I think that, the way we have played this year, we were in those games. Now, on paper, I still think we're probably lacking 1 or 2 players. But man, we're so much closer than we've ever been before.
Yeah.
And like I said, you just don't know what's going to happen in the playoffs. And so all we need to do is just get in and enjoy the ride. I mean, crap, at the beginning of the season, we were like, maybe we'll make the playoffs, but I'm not counting on it. I mean, most of us were kind of like,
we win more than 1 or 2.
If we make the playoffs, this has been the most gigantic success, in our, imagination. And now we're talking about, no. We're getting in the playoffs, and it's a matter of what can we do in that one match in that semifinal, and then who knows from there.
That is so true. I want to run down a couple of names real quick, and then we got our special guest we're going to bring in here.
Fantastic.
Guys, I haven't run down stuff like this in the last couple of weeks, but from this win, this game on Sunday, as far as our point scorers, Sam Tuifua has been phenomenal this year as far as getting tries. He has been stellar at getting that ball across the line. Gave us 7 points. Martin Elias gave us 5. Jason Tidwell had his first try on an MLR game. It was phenomenal. Had an excellent pass and run. That play was shown on, I believe it was TRN as one of their highlights of the week, breaking down how it was so phenomenal from that line out into the try zone. It was just amazing to watch. And then Wandy Oliver, 5 from him as well. Some of these recurring names that have just been phenomenal. We really did have a great show there when it came to points on the board. So with that, I'm going to bring in our special guest. This is incredible. We are happy and pleased and thankful to be joined by none other. Whoop, I hit the wrong button. Hold on. Here he is. None other than Jarek Szopinski. I'll try to not say that wrong. We are so happy to have you join us, man. It's amazing. I've been looking forward to talking with you all year. You and I sat down at the preseason event when we did the jersey reveal, and I got a chance to talk with you a little bit then. And one of the coolest things that I think is you are probably the only player, and Rick can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think you're the only player that has made this transition from a local D1 team, the Harlequins, into the Jackals, which is very cool to see.
This season,
yes. Okay, this season, yeah. But it's very cool to see that happening. So I'm excited about that. Now, I got to ask real quick: are you driving while we do this interview?
I am actually. I just parked at home because training ran a little late. So that's why I'm a little late.
Good.
I saw it might have been a bird go by the window. I was like, if you're driving, we can wait.
Yeah, I'm parked now.
Okay, good. Well, one of the things, so I do a little bit of research on you guys, and I want to run down and give the fans a little bit of what I've seen and what I've read about you. Let me see if I get all of this right. So signed with the Jackals as a winger in 2024. This is your first season with the MLR. Made your debut on the pitch at a home game against Seattle, which we won, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
Played for the Dallas Harlequins for 2 years prior to coming to MLR. Let's see, originally from Buffalo, New York. Prior to coming out to Dallas. Now, I didn't see that you played rugby in New York. I saw that you played 2 years at D1 at University of Oklahoma. But did you pick up rugby back home before you went to Oklahoma?
No, not at all. I was really into basketball until the end of high school. So then when it was time to transfer, to college sports, I really wanted to get into rugby. So I started up at OU with a couple of guys. So
hey, pretty good program. I might know a few people over there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm sure the Meekster was the one that got you down to Dallas, huh?
Oh, yeah. Kelly Meek and Michael Engelbrecht really helped me get down to Dallas. So
I believe we just call him Moley.
Moley, yeah. Moley.
So I know Jarek a little bit. I'm also a former Dallas Harlequin. And the sad part is I played with all those guys he probably thinks are old men. Who are now coaching and or administrative people in rugby or playing old boys on occasion. But I do know Moley and Kelly Meek, whose brother, Tyson, is a former USA Eagle.
Oh, yeah.
And is coaching. Where is he coaching at now?
I don't know if he is coaching right now.
Okay. He was at Oklahoma, and I think he was at one of the military academies very briefly.
Right.
But Oklahoma has a phenomenal rugby program. They're probably top. Maybe they are the top program in RRC, or what would be like Louisiana, Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma.
It always splits between us and A&M. So
yeah. So we got one Oklahoma kid and one A&M kid fighting for minutes out there.
Jason's a big OU fan though, so if you ask him.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, are you allowed to be an OU fan, especially now they're going to be in the SEC together?
He does it. I don't know.
You go to A&M, I don't know.
They don't allow you to like anybody else. So now I got to ask, so you're the first person I've talked to that has made the transition from basketball to rugby. I typically hear the football to rugby thing, but well, Rick, you can answer this too. So what, and maybe it's just an Oklahoma thing, but what, it's a very different play style. What kind of drew you from one to the other?
I really enjoy kind of like old school basketball, you know, getting into the paint, you know, so I grew up playing street ball, stuff like that. So, you know, organized basketball, even in high school, you know, kind of turned into what it is today. Everyone just throwing up threes from half court, and I'm no good at that. So, and I always wanted to get into something a little more competitive where you use almost every aspect, you know, of your athleticism. And, you know, rugby's that perfect competition, you know, catch, throw, pass, run, it's everything, you know?
That's true.
So when I first tried it out, I was a little nervous. I was like, maybe this isn't it, but I fell in love with it almost instantly. So,
well, that's good. That's good. Now, what after 2 years at OU, 2 years at Harlequins, and now coming to the Jackals, how's the prep and coaching kind of transition? How's that change been for you?
I think I got really lucky with all of my coaching through the years, because my 2 years at OU, I was coached by a South African coach, Blikkies Groenewald, who was like an international coach for a while, coached the Blue Bulls. So almost immediately I had like this very professional organization I had to be in. Like we had to show up to our games looking very professional. We were at practice to do one job. And he almost ran practice as Kuka runs practice. It's, it's strict to the point. You're 110%. And then after that, we go home, there's no messing about. And Molly does the very same thing with the Quins, So I think I've been very lucky not having to transition. I was introduced to it almost the same way Kuka runs it.
That's good to hear. It makes it a little bit easier. Yeah. It's funny. My high school was internationally famous for their rugby team, and the coach there did his LDS mission in New Zealand, and that's where he got familiar with the game and brought it back. And he had a lot of that same mentality. His teaching, his catchphrase kind of thing was, "You're off the field, you're a professional. On the field, you're a murderer." But when it was off the field, if it was game day and the rugby team had to come to school in suit and tie on game day. They had to look professional. If they were traveling, they would travel in suit and tie to check in places. But then once you made that transition in the locker room, the beast came out kind of thing. So that's interesting that it's and you're and Molly, you said, was South African?
Yeah. Molly is also South African. Yeah.
Okay. So
there's a huge South African population in North Texas.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I think Texas has like maybe fourth most out of any area in the world outside of South Africa of South Africans. It's something crazy.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't believe it when I saw this stat.
Great for the rugby community over here.
Absolutely. Yeah. We need to find where all of them are to come out to the matches. Maybe we stop calling it a tailgate, start calling it a braai. So, Jarek, I'll tell you, I stuck with basketball a little bit longer. I played a couple of years of football in college, and then went back to basketball after a 5-year hiatus. Played the last 2 years of my college sporting career playing basketball, Division III, and then ended up not finding rugby until grad school. So I was an old man already. I was your age when I started playing rugby. I was way behind. I realized quickly, if I got into the administration and coaching, I would be better off. So, one of the things I really enjoyed, and maybe you can back this up, going from basketball to rugby, was the spatial awareness and understanding where your teammates are going to be, how to get the ball to them, how to look off a defender, how to step, how to create space, how to move into space, things like that, that maybe don't happen in a lot of other sports, but basketball does kind of translate in that sense.
Yeah, no, I agree with that completely because I'm not the most physical player, but I know with my speed what gap is going to open up, where I can hit a line to kind of hold a guy, almost like a screen in basketball.
Yep.
So that's been
Okay.
extremely helpful for me. I know when to start my line running hard, and that's what's really helped me out and get to the level I'm at.
So you got a bit of a
Very
late
cool.
start in rugby for most guys playing at this level.
Yeah.
What's your experience now, playing in a full-time professional system? Because playing with the Quins is one thing, and it's high. D1 is high-level rugby, but it's a huge step up to go to a professional program.
Yeah, I love it a lot. I always knew I kind of wanted to continue sports and kind of try and make it into a career. So as soon as I got to it and I found out, how the practices were run, how our days are planned out and like structured for us almost, I loved it immediately. Especially having such a good group of guys around you. It makes it a lot easier, and a few other local guys, in the area like Jason and Evan and even Petty from Grand Prairie coming up with me.
Technically, Sam is a local of sorts.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
Well, now he's official because he's got his own day in Arlington, apparently.
Yeah.
So, also, what is it like, communication wise? We've talked to a lot of the Argentinian players about coming up here, the challenge of, needing to learn some English to deal with Coach Nate, and then vice versa. It seems like communication on the team is significantly better this year and has gotten better as the year has gone on versus last year and maybe even the beginning of this year.
Yeah, it's honestly like really impressive because a lot of the guys told me that some of these guys didn't speak any English last year, and now I can go up to any one of them and we could have a conversation about whatever, and for a long time as well. So it's just it's really impressive and just really cool that they decided that they were going to learn our language instead of us having to learn a little bit of Spanish.
All right. So speaking on that, what have you learned in Spanish other than dirty words?
Other than all the swear words.
Yeah. I don't think I could get a sentence out without any swear words. But it's really cool because they always try and teach you a little, and then they're always asking what can make their English better, like asking you to correct them in their sentences and stuff. But it's honestly, there's no real language barrier in the locker room at all.
One thing I kind of wanted to ask on that, and I feel like this may have been more prevalent last year, but one of the thoughts that occurred to me when I realized that we had such a heavy Argentinian force on there was it may be beneficial to be able to call plays on a field in a language that nobody on the other team speaks. Is there any of that in the field communication of hey, we're going to teach you a couple of these Spanish calls that,
unless you're playing Miami, then you revert back to English.
Then back to English. Yeah, we even on the Quins, we have a few that are like French for some reason. When Frenchie's the only guy.
Oh, Frenchie,
out there.
Of course.
But yeah, so like everyone will go through, like they'll tell us a call and a play, and you commit that to memory, you study it, So we will all learn what it means, and then like in real life, and then also on the field, what it means. So we do take advantage of that a little bit, but for the most part, it's pretty in between. We'll just call something, some random word, and it'll stick with the guys.
Yep.
So
the turtle, blueberry, fox,
and everybody knows what you mean. So
yeah,
gotcha. So now, getting to know you off the pitch a little bit. So you've been in Dallas for a little bit now, and it's easy to talk to the guys that just flew down.
We saw him in a cowboy hat. He's a Texan now.
Oh yeah.
That's what. Yeah, this isn't going to be a question of like, what do you think about living here because you've been here for a bit, but what I'd like to ask is when you're not training and at the game, where can we find you? Are you just hanging out in your house want to play video games, or are you out? Are you out at the ranch, or what?
He's out at Red River.
I'm out and about. I gotta, I love being with the guys. I've grown really close with a lot of the Quins guys, so you can find me, at Stan's, the Quins bar, quite a bit with those guys. Red River has been pretty fun. I've been there a few times, but yeah, I like going out in the town, finding new spots. Anything with live music, I'll probably pop up there, out of nowhere. So
I was pretty amazed. I was thrown off on Sunday. I had to run back at the end of halftime, run back over and grab some waters for the kids. And I walked past this really tall guy, very tall, skinny man in tight Wranglers and a button-up white shirt with the most amazing hair. I got to say, like the most amazing head of curly blonde hair. And I stopped for a second and I thought, that looks kind of like Jarek, but no, the games he wouldn't be walking like why? And then I saw the picture and later on socials, like, was there a reason that you were up walking around in regular clothes as opposed to?
So I was a best man at one of the Quinn's guys' weddings actually that day.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Right after
Richard?
The reception, Richard Preto, yeah.
Yeah.
Got married, and it was, beautiful ceremony. And then right after the reception, they had gone home, so I rushed straight to the Jackals game and stopped to change. So I was still in my groomsman stuff. So,
Gotcha. I didn't want to be too weird, like look
picture.
Around, like, hey, is that you? But
yeah,
okay, that makes sense then.
Yeah,
I'm going to say probably the best head of hair on the entire team, just so you know.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, since Tucci left, I think you got a shot at winning it.
Liam's is probably my favorite hairstyle, though. So.
Man, I got to find out what's going on there at some point.
Head of hair.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. So, future plans in this. So I know, play in MLR as long as you can. Stay with the Jackals as long as you can. Do you see this transitioning to a future in coaching and administration for rugby, or do you see this as kind of a stepping stone into something else?
No, I would love to just continue in the sport after I'm done playing, either getting to coaching for a while or administration. I'm not sure which path I really want to take yet, but I would like to continue after I'm done playing, and definitely staying in Dallas as long as I can. I'm a loyal guy, so stay with the Quins, stay with the Jackals until the end. So
good. I'd like to hear that. Now, I asked that because I realized here that you have a bachelor's in physics.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, what?
Yeah. Which is not one you usually see from somebody who went to school for sports. Like you didn't just get I got my business degree because they gave me A's because I was good on the field. Like you got a degree in physics. Like was there
I'm really good at really good at math, and that's always been something that really interests me.
Okay.
And really, I've really dedicated a lot of my academic stuff to that. Like I've always been very bad at reading and writing, even to this day. So that was definitely the best path for me, and something I my last few years there, I got more into astrophysics. So anything like that, just extremely interesting. I was able to, just put my head down and do all that work, because it was fun enough to actually concentrate and do while I'm still playing a sport,
So
when somebody says, you're almost on that level of when somebody says, well, it's not rocket science. You're like, Jesus. I mean, no, it's not. I know what.
Right. Yeah. Right. So
you don't see yourself going down to Houston and trying to find a job at NASA or anything, or X, or what is it? There's another one. Oh my gosh, I'll remember it later. Firefly, I think, is the other one.
What's his?
I don't think so. I'm not really built for the office job. Like right now I do construction part-time, and I just love being on the tools, being outside with the guys.
Okay.
That having a physics degree and working in construction and playing rugby,
man, it's good though. Like the construction, if someone argues with me, I'm like, I can, I know how to do this because I can do other things.
There's a little bit of engineering in there,
right? Yeah,
we have our own version of Dolph Lundgren on the Jackals.
That's right.
We have a tall, athletic, blonde guy. I think he has blue eyes too. With a physics degree. Who put it aside for something else. Now, I'm not saying
remake of RoboCop.
Yeah,
with Jarek soon.
Man, So any desire to, in your off time, pursue that degree past what you have right now? I mean, looking at masters
not
or
really as of right now. Not really.
Dr. Szopinski?
No, I don't. I didn't really enjoy school that much. So I don't know if it's something I would ever pursue. But
Okay.
we'll see what happens in a few years. A couple injuries maybe will send me back. But
Well,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
very cool.
I really just love the sport.
We haven't really gotten in with anybody about injuries and what are the challenges, but you're seeing this on a daily basis. I mean, we've had several players who've missed time this year due to injury, and I've kind of heard insider information on there are challenges in terms of just getting an MRI or a CAT scan or whatever else, and kind of just give us a little peek behind the curtain on what are some of those challenges of getting things taken care of, especially on the health front.
I don't know if I can reveal that much, but I know like our team is really good. Our physios are really good, but I think when it comes to getting those MRIs and stuff, it has to be cleared by a higher power than just our physios. So it's just getting all the paperwork done and trying to rush it for these guys that are hurt. So that's been the real struggle, because you want to get these guys taken care of as soon as you can, but it's more so you got to run it up the chain, and
we got to find out what the problem is so we can start working on the PT schedule as soon as possible, or surgery if needed. Right. Yeah.
And the problem is our PT crew, sometimes has to jump through hoops to kind of help the guys, because they have to go through their own chain of command. So
it's not surprising, unfortunately.
Hopefully that transition into the Rugby Players Union will help out with some of that in the near future.
Oh yeah. So how are y'all dealing with that right now? I know we've got two, Mitch and Sam. Is that right? Are the reps? What's kind of the word going around about that? Are guys excited about the progress that's being made, or does it seem a bit slow?
Yeah, all the guys took that as like a big win for the players. Not that the league has been unfair, crazy to us, but it's going to be really nice to have our own reps in there, especially them allowing us to vote on our own. Sending Sam and Mitch, two guys who really care about this team, up there to represent us is going to be great. And really get our point across for anything that we ask for or need.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, like league wide, I think a lot of the guys have been ecstatic about it.
That's phenomenal. Yeah, I mean the league. We talk about play on the field all the time because that's what we're seeing, right? That's the product that we're getting is getting better and better every year by leaps and bounds. But I think it's really important to get across like some of this, behind the scenes stuff that's getting better and better every year. We see the production of games, I think, getting better overall. Obviously, there's still challenges.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as far as the players' health, players, having some control over their own destiny in this league and in rugby in general, I think is improving. And so it's good to hear that, like, this sort of progress being made with this league at this point. Certainly we've got, 7 more years until a very important occasion arises in the history of USA rugby, men's rugby, and women's rugby coming soon as well. And we've got to be at a point where we're on a level that's at least similar to the rest of the world, if not, maybe a better situation for players, so that players are encouraged to come over, players are encouraged to switch from basketball, from football, from soccer, whatever, to play rugby, because you can have as much passion about the sport as you want, but the money is too good for a lot of these players to turn down, to not go be a punter in the NFL. Be a Reese Salmon. I mean, he's making good money at Gloucester, but the NFL comes calling. That's a lot of money. So hopefully we can, make those steps up, and it's good to hear that, those steps are being taken.
Yeah, absolutely.
So 1 year in, how are you feeling? You're almost what, 8 months into training and then matches with the
just
Jackals.
about. I've loved every second of it. I'm sure it's been tougher on the body for some of the guys that have been playing every game, but
Yeah.
The practice and the way this team has grown, like I just loved being a part of it. Especially because the team is almost brand new in the sense of all the guys that we brought in and the way
Right.
we meshed. You think we'd been playing together for a few years now. So it's been great.
So also, just to add on to that, bringing in players, the last couple of years we've had more Dallas area players on the team. Technically, you're the only player that played rugby in Dallas that is now on the Jackals. Do you see? We already have seen the glimpses of U23 and U18 programs.
Right.
How do you see that helping the Jackals moving forward? Because I think that if those programs existed currently, that could have been of assistance this year in helping the team move forward.
I think it's huge. We have so much local talent here in Dallas. We have a lot of guys that travel from other states to play here in Texas. Even with Austin Huns and Austin Blacks, if we can convince guys to come up to Dallas to play for our academy, then going down there where they go back and forth winning national championships, that our team here will grow increasingly. We'll start winning academy championships, and those guys, having played together at those lower stages, can then keep moving up as they grow. So I think it's going to be huge for us.
That's exciting. Are you going to be involved in any of that coaching this summer?
I think over the summer with the academy, me and a few other boys who are looked at more as developmental players will actually play a bit with the academy.
Okay.
Which will be it'll be really nice.
You'll be the
really
senior
cool.
leadership.
Right. So that's
exciting.
Be awesome. I know a lot of the guys from the Quins who are on it, so it'd be really cool to step on the field with them again.
Yeah.
We're really excited to see that next year because we've had the Houston SaberCats second side down there for years now, and looking at that and just drooling over like what could be if we had that going here. So we're very excited to see that come to fruition this summer and then build into the fall. That's going to be awesome.
I think it's going to be really well done and really well executed. So I'm looking forward to it.
Fantastic. Tell Terrence I said hi.
Oh yeah.
I want to ask, so as someone that's been in the sport and living the life of it and following MLR for so long, and now participating in it, getting to travel with all see other teams and play against other teams, has there been anybody prior to you coming into MLR? Was there anybody that you were watching that you were really excited to get to go meet, get a chance to go be on the field with, or get a chance to just shake hands as kind of like who's your inspiration within the MLR that you were excited to kind of get to talk with?
I don't think there was a single person, but I think a lot of the guys on the team, on the Jackals, because I've either played against or with them, guys like Jason and Evan, seeing them have made it in the MLR, it was, it just got in the back of my mind, like, you got to get in there. You want to play with those guys again. So that was awesome. And then having known Matt Frings and Frenchie, I got to meet like Liam before I was on the team and stuff like that. And, getting to know him off the field before being signed, I was like, these are guys I want to spend, my days with. I want to train with these guys. So that was huge for me, meeting these guys before I was on and pushing me, that season then to, work harder to get there.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, are you staying? I know you live locally in the area also. When it comes time for off the pitch, when training's done, are you staying with the team in that apartment complex, or have they kind of said, hey, you got your own place locally, you just go home?
Yeah, they kind of just offered to keep me at the place I was currently at, especially because I was going to be playing the season with the Quins as well when I could.
Okay.
So I was living with some of the Quins guys, so it was easier for me to stay there halfway between that stadium, the Quins pitch. So that's where I'm at. But I'm at the apartments quite a bit. Whenever the guys have barbecues, we all get the invite. Or when there's training there off pitch, I'm up there. So that's always been.
I think
really
it's
nice.
so phenomenal that the whole team has that place, and you have 90-something% of the guys living in the same area. They can hang out together. Right. On the off days, hang out at the pool, barbecue, play video games together, and really kind of build that camaraderie. That is phenomenal. It's awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's been awesome with the guys off the pitch too. Everyone's so friendly. Everyone likes to, just go out, find new things to do. So it's been awesome.
Yeah, it's probably fun to show around the guys that have never been here, show them around the city. And
right. Yeah.
Very a little bit different.
Well, hey, so kind of want to wrap this up so that Jarek's not burning through too much of his gas sitting out there in the car. Let's let him get it.
Yeah.
No questions?
I don't have too much questions for you. I mean, the fan base has just been awesome this year, the numbers growing every time, looking over, or even the times I've walked through the stands has been, amazing how loud we are too.
Yes.
Yeah, we're trying to come up with new chants. So if you've got any ideas on chants, don't hesitate.
All right, I'll get after it. I'll start.
There's got to be something for Jarek. That's a strong name we can make a chant for.
We try to mimic a lot of Ted Lasso chants, so we'll try to see if we can fit Jarek into the Roy.
Yeah, the English football chants are good. We've also looked into maybe some of the Argentinian football chants as well. Maybe bring up some Spanish stuff. But work in progress. Maybe we'll have more for next year.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love being from Buffalo. I love the tailgate thing you guys are doing. There's nothing better than a good tailgate. So.
Buffalo does it about as well as anybody could.
Oh yeah.
If you get a chance, swing out and say hi, and we'll have burgers and beers if come mingle with us before the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'd love it
if they let you.
Yeah.
If they let you, yeah. And speaking of that, I think I will draw this to a close. So I want to say thank everybody, Jarek. It's been phenomenal. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your evening to come talk with us. I know you're probably beat after a practice, so I know you want to get in there and put your feet up, and I appreciate you talking to us. Rick, as always, it's been a pleasure. Everybody watching, like we started off with, final home game. It's off against Old Glory DC. We're going to put them in their place just like we did the last couple games and solidify our spot in that playoff.
Tailgate, baby. We get a win. Basically a win and we're in. Let's do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Jared.
All right.
Thanks, James.
Thank you. You guys have a good week. We will see you on next Wednesday.
You too.